Hi everybody, this is Dale from Sarah's Kids, and this is the last in the series of 3 videos on how to make a grunge paper flower. The first video was much too long and I had to break it into 3 parts. So the first part was called making a 6-petal flower. The second part was called getting light colors on grunge paper, and this is the third part about how to put the grunge paper flower together. But before we start, I want to tell you something about what my friend Andrea did. She is much too kind to tell me that my hands were dirty on the very first video I ever made. So when she arrived at my house after viewing that video, she brought me these finger gloves. They're from a company in Colorado, and they work wonderfully to keep your fingers clean when you're distressing. And I needed them desperately. So I ordered them and they arrived in 3 days. Order them, they're wonderful. Fingergloves.com. Thanks. So here we go with how to make and put together the grunge paper flowers. Now that you have your 3 flowers colored and you're ready to go, we're going to put those together. The first thing you need to do is to cut each flower petal. Well, you need to do the first one, you're going to make 1 cut. The second piece, you're going to make 1 cut and cut 1 petal out. And what I do is just kind of estimate where the center is. You can measure it if you want to, but you don't really have to. And the third piece, you're going to cut 2 petals out. And then you can fold the petals down to make them look more like rose petals, so they kind of curve downward, and you do that for each piece. These 2 extra pieces that you cut out, you're going to save. Now you're going to glue the petals together, and I use diamond glaze for that, but you can use glossy accents, or you can use 3-in-1 glue. You can use almost any type of glue you want to. I just like the diamond glaze. And I'm going to start with the 6-petal flower, and you're going to put glue on one of the petals next to your cut, and then you're going to slip the next petal over top of that and hold that. And I use 2 of these little clips to hold these together. One there and one on the side over here to hold this seam down, because if you don't, this seam kind of gapes open and won't stick. And then you have to set that aside. And you do this with each of the larger petals. You glue 1/2, put them together, hold them with a clip, and then put another clip on the seam area so that that stays glued. If you don't drop your clips, that is. This is the 4th one, the one with 4 petals, not the 4th one. And you see that seam bulges up if you don't put a clip there too to hold that down. Okay, the 2 petals that you cut out, you're going to take and roll. And then you're going to put a little of the glue along the seam here. And then you're going to put a clip on that and let it dry. Don't worry if you squish it a little bit, because that will come out fine later. Now, when your flowers are dry, you can take off the clips And then you're going to cut a hole in the bottom of each of the 3 larger flowers, petals. The hole should be about 1/4 inch in circumference. I've cut 2, and this one needs to be cut also. And I just cut it off, and then I slip my scissors in and make it a little bit rounder. And you need a fairly good sized hole there, and you'll see why in a minute. The smallest piece you're going to take and you're going to use an awl. Mine is on my wine cork, of course, to protect me. And about 1/2 inch up, or maybe a little less than 1/2 inch up the petal, you're going to make a hole with your awl and stick that thing right through there so that you have a good hole. Then you're going to take a piece of wire, and I have floral wire, which I got at Michael's. It's 22 gauge, and so it's easy to bend and quite thin. And you're going to take about 6 inches of that. And you're going to stick that through the hole that you just made with your awl. And you're going to bend the wires down. Don't twist the wires together. You'll see why in a little bit. You can straighten out that flower now. Now you are going to put the flower together totally. Take the smallest 3-petal flower part and stick the wires through the hole, but first add a little bit of diamond glaze. Just need a little dab, just so it holds. And then you're going to pull this through. And you see why you needed that hole, so that you can get the wires and the bottom through. And you see how that starts to look like a little rose. You could stop at this point and have like a bud if you wanted to, but we're going to do a bigger flower here. Okay, so the next one is the 4-petal flower, and you're going to put a little diamond glaze in there, or glue, whatever you're using, if you can get it out, which I can't. There we go. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing. Stick the wires through the hole and pull down through, and now you can arrange your petals so that they kind of alternate and aren't all in the same place and same direction. And again, you've pulled that through. And then you're going to put a little more of the glue in the bottom of the largest flower. Just a little dab will do you. And then stick the wires through again and hold that so that you can arrange the petals again at this point. There we go. This last piece, this 1 petal that you've cut off, you're going to cut down, because if you rolled it and stuck it in there at this point, it would stick up way too high and it would look awful. So you're going to cut about 1/2 inch off, and then you're going to roll this and hold it, and then get a good dollop of glue down in the bottom and stick this in there. And there you have the center of your flower. And you can arrange the petals. If you think it needs more color on there, you can take a sponge and dab more color on the rose if you want. You're going to hold the wires down and cut off this cone that's at the bottom so that you have a pretty much flat surface, so that your rose will sit on a book cover or on a frame or whatever you want to use it on. But there you have it, a beautiful grunge paper rose. Thank you.